And completely relax your whole body. Prepare yourself for this meditative process. Totally relax your body. Observe if there is any stiffness in any part of the body and consciously relax it. Pay attention to your whole body and feel it totally relaxed. Now bring your attention to your breathing and observe your breaths. The soft in breath and the gentle out breath. In breath and out breath. Become totally still and attach your attention to your breath. And now shift your focus to your mid-brow region, the middle part of your forehead in between the eyebrows, which is the Agya Chakra. Bring your attention to the Agya Chakra or the third eye chakra, the eye of wisdom, the Gyan Chakshu. Keep your attention on the Agya Chakra. And keep your awareness focused on this chakra at all the time during this meditation. And just listen as we today learn about the law of impermanence in the creation. So what is this law of impermanence? What does it say? So this means that everything in this creation is impermanent, which means there is nothing which is fixed or stable or static. Everything is constantly changing. We see change at all times in the creation, in this nature, which also means that things never remain permanent here. That means things in the creation, they appear, they stay for some time, and then they disappear or die. And you can find this everywhere. You can experience this directly. And this is what is called as the law of Srishti, Sthiti and Lay or Sanhar. Srishti means creation. It something is created, it emanates in this universe. Then Sthiti. Sthiti means it is maintained or it stays for sometimes, it is sustained. Something, the creation is sustained for some time. And then there is Lay or Sanhar, which means it will be destroyed or it will dissolve or it will be withdrawn. So we can see that everything in this creation is constantly changing. And when we say creation, we can classify everything in the creation into three broad groups. Like one is the objects, one is the bodies, and one is the mind. So you pick up anything in these three categories, you will find that it is constantly changing. And if you pick up anything in these categories in the existence, everything will fit in one of these categories only. So if we think about objects, so all objects, right from the highest and the biggest, the universe and galaxies, to the smallest, the atom and the subatomic particles, they are in constant flux. They are in constant change, constant movement. We find that all the galaxies, universe, they constantly move, they change. And also the galaxies, universe, stars, planets, they are born at a time and they stay there. It could be millions and trillions of years, but still they stay and then they ultimately wane off. They die. We know that all stars and galaxies die, all are sucked in a black hole. So all objects, even the earth, and on the earth also, every object changes. It appears, it stays for some time, and then it disappears or dissolves or disintegrates. And in the bodies, our own body and every body, which of all the living organisms, they also change. Bodies just appear, that means bodies are born, bodies stay for some time, and body disappears or the body dies. We know that. But when I was born, I had a different body. Now I have a different body. Later on, at later age, I'll have a different body which looks different, which feels different. So all the bodies are also constantly changing. Every day, every second, there is change happening in the bodies. We know that the whole epithelial lining is changing, the gut lining changes, the RBCs are recycled 120 days. So every moment, some change is happening in the body. Like every moment, the body is not the same as it was 1 second before. Some change has happened in the body. So all bodies change. No body is permanent. It never stays the same. So similarly, mind is the third category in the creation. The objects and the bodies, they are the grosser parts of the creation. They are a part of the physical world. But mind is not seen. Mind is not visible. So it is not in the grosser part. It belongs to the subtle part of creation. And we can see that the mind also is changing. We can observe that. We can experience that from our own experience. In fact, mind is the most fastest changing structure in the creation. So much of activity, so much of change is continuously happening in the mind in form of thoughts, emotions, feelings. They happen so rapidly. imaginations. So we can see how quick this mind changes. And people have tried to evaluate that a person has around 50 to 60,000 thoughts per day. So we can see how rapidly this mind changes. And what is mind? Mind is just a structure. It is a simple structure which has some sort of activity, which is seen in form of thoughts, in form of emotions, feelings, sensations, imaginations, memory. So all this is mind. So from all these observations, we can say that we can easily find the evidence that everything in this creation is constantly changing. It is never permanent. And this is what is the law of impermanence. So the question will arise, why is everything changing in this? Why change is there? Why there is presence of change? Why change happens? So because without change, there will be no creation. So how is it possible that without change, there will be no creation? So we can deduce this through simple logic. Just imagine if in this moment, right in this moment, if everything in this creation just freezes, just becomes fixed and static as it is, no change. That means everything just remains stable. There is no movement in the body, there is no activity in the body, no processes going on in the bodies. The living beings, the birds, the animals, they just are fixed, they freeze in this moment. And the universes, the planets, and everything just freezes there, no movement. The earth doesn't move. So you can imagine this state. What will happen? It will become a dead creation. There will be nothing there and it will all collapse. So this is how change is so fundamental to creation. Without change, no creation. This is how it is. So change is important. That is why everything is changing, because the creation has to be there. And when we look at this creation, or when we look at the manner in which change happens, we'll find that this change is cyclic. The changes in nature is always in cycles. It is repetition. They are changes in loops. They are periodic. And we can again find evidences everywhere. We experience this all the time. There is day and night, and again day and again night. So it is all in rhythm, in cycles. There are seasons which are cyclic. The planets, they revolve around the sun. They are cyclic. Their orbits are circular. And when we look at life also, life cycle, there is birth and death, and again birth and death. And this continuously happens. This loop continuously keeps on going. This change, this is the manner in which change happens in cycles. And even deeper, if we go in the life cycles, there is birth, there is growth, there is reproduction, then there is death and decomposition, and again new life, new growth, reproduction, death and decomposition. This is how this chakra, this life cycle, this change keeps on happening in cycles. And there are larger cycles, and in the larger cycles there are many smaller cycles
तू कितने बजे जाने वाला है बाहर?
So this is how it is. And you can just think of how many cycles you will find. You can pick up anything and you will find that a part of a cycle, a part of some rhythm. Like there are larger that, for example, there are larger cycles of time also. Like there are millennia, and then in the millennia there are years and months and weeks and days and so on. Even in the ancient mm, text, there are mention of yugas. There is Satyug, then there is Dwapar Yug, there is Treta, and there is Kal Yug, and again there is Satyug. So this is how this time also is in cycles. There are larger cycles of time, then in that there are smaller cycles. And everywhere we'll see cycles. There is a water cycle, there is a carbon cycle, there's a nitrogen cycle, and within our body also, our body itself is a life cycle, and inside the body also there are smaller cycles. There's a heart cycle, we know all the biochemistry and physiology. There's a respiratory cycle, in breath, out breath, again inspiration, expiration. So this cycle continues. Even biochemical level, may we see the cycles, the Krebs cycle and the Cori cycle, all those minute levels. So wherever we see, we'll find that change is continuously happening, and this change happens in cycles. This is the law, and this is the law of impermanence. So the question could arise that what causes this change? Why there is impermanence? What is the cause of impermanence? What causes this change? So the reason for this change is because all the creation is made up of vibrations. Everything is just vibration. So what is vibration? Vibration, it's just simple, like physics. We know vibration means change of two states. There is one neutral position, then there is a change of state, then it comes back to its normal state again. So this is what is vibration or oscillation. So everything in this creation is made up of vibrations. If you remember this, we we studied in physics the sine wave, vibration is seen in form of waves. So there is a positive side, then there's a negative side, there's a crest and there's a trough. So one phase, one vibration means change of phase, one phase to the other phase. So there are two phases always in the vibration, and this is how everything is created. So how do we know that everything is vibration? So as we said, there are evidence in science also, and of course there is all ancient evidence that in the spiritual, the Vedic text, the Upanishadic text, that everything is made up of nad, or it is called as spanda. So you will find references there. If you go through the spiritual texts, the Upanishad especially, there you find the pointing out of nad or spanda. And there's a very specific book, Spanda Karika, which explains all how this vibration is vibration creates the whole creation. And this book, Spanda Karika, is a very lovely book of the Trika Shaivism. And this, as we call as this vibration is also called as nad, which is sound, because sound is also a vibration, sound is also a wave. So we can find all the evidence there in all these texts as well as in science. And how this creation happens from vibrations. So in the field, of consciousness, there is a thought, there is a primordial thought or primordial desire to create. And when that desire appears, when that desire happens, then it creates a sound, or it creates a vibration which is called as Om. This is the primordial sound, with the sound of creation. It is a primordial cosmic sound. It is called as Nad Brahma or Pranav. And it is sort of a throb. There is a throb in this field. And from that, a vibration appears, which is in the form of Om. And through this vibration, which then spreads to the field, more patterns are formed in this vibratory field. More and more complex patterns are formed, more and more self-sustaining patterns or structures are formed. And from that, all creation happens through this vibration. So this is the basis of how we, in the modern times, you say, there are vibes, these are vibes, good vibes, bad vibes. So everyone is just, everything is just vibrations. It's just vibes only. And physics is also finding so many evidences, so many interconnections. And it is a very big field. I will not go into much detail. If you have interest, you can dive into it. There is a wave particle duality where subatomic particles, they exhibit wave as well as particle forms. And this is the famous double slit experiment where you can find it everywhere. You can read about it. And there is a string theory which says that there the strings are actually, they are fundamental things. We cannot call them, we don't know how to call them with it. They are not particles, they are not entities, they are not energies, they are just things. They are fundamental things which are vibrating, and from this strings creation happens. So these are the most fundamental units of creation, which is proposed by the string theory in physics. So this is how creation happens. And this is the cause of impermanence, because vibration means change, and change means impermanence. Change means nothing is ever fixed. It is always changing. And if there is no change, there is no creation at all. So this is how it happens. And so, having said that, all these theoretical things, but what is important for me is that what is the implication of this? What transformation can happen in my life with this knowledge? So is this only theoretical knowledge, or is there something to do with my life, with my living? So, the ancient wise men or teachers, they all have said that all the psychological pain, suffering, it is all because the mind, it resists change. We as humans, we always have a tendency to cling to some pleasant state, and we always want to resist something which is unpleasant. So of course this is very natural. There's nothing so great to say that I want pleasantness and I don't want unpleasantness. But the thing is, because I'm not aware of the law of impermanence, that the pleasant state or the pleasant things will never stay forever. There will always be change. It will always change. So, this is what the law of impermanence says. Nothing will remain fixed. So, when we do not know this law, or rather, we may know it, but we don't internalize it, we don't make this law of our own, then whenever there is some unpleasant happening, then suffering comes. Then we don't feel good. We want the good times to always stay. Good things we want to have them always. But as per the law, this will never happen. Any type of situation will never be there fixed. It will change. So when we expect that things should be fixed, that good or pleasant things should be always fixed, that means we do not know about this law. We do not honor this law. And it is just going against the law. So what happens when we know this law? Then we can have the wisdom, we can live a life of equanimity. Equanimity means there will be good times, there will be bad times. So whenever there is good time, I enjoy the pleasant things. But I'm not too much attached to them because I know they would be gone. So till I have pleasant times, I enjoy them, I engage in them. But when there is a tough time, then I'm equal about it. My attitude is acceptance. Oh yes, this is the law. Good times came, now tough time can also come. Why not? So the wisdom from this law it helps us to endure tough times, because now you are aware, you are prepared that bad time will also come. But when bad times come, you are aware that this will not stay permanent. So there is always a hope. There is always positivity in the bad times. No, this too shall pass. This is what is the mantra. In tough times, in unpleasant times, this too shall pass. So there are many more implications of knowing this law. Probably we may not complete it because it's already time, and a lot of wisdom to be learned from this law and implemented in our life to make our life beautiful. So probably we'll continue this tomorrow. I guess that it wouldn't be possible because it is a longer law, a little bit more understanding. So just all this creation, all this nature, which is called as Prakriti, as per Sankhya philosophy. There's a chapter in Bhagavad Gita, na, Sankhya Yoga. So Sankhya says that Prakriti or creation is always in a state of change, perpetual change. It is perpetually flowing. It is in flux. It is never permanent. It is so chanchal. It is constantly moving. So everything is changing. And there's a saying also, there's a quote that you never enter the same river twice. This is how you can visualize the creation. It is flowing, it is just changing constantly. It is just like a flow. So if you imagine creation like a flow of river, so when you step into the river, it will never be the same. If you step again, the water will be different. So this is how we can understand the law of impermanence. So this beautiful creation is constantly flowing in change. And this is what is the beauty. This is what maintains the creation. So maybe probably tomorrow we'll continue with more of implications of this law of impermanence, and why the mind wants why the mind wants permanence, why the mind wants to cling or im, attach with permanence. And this reflects in everywhere, in our relationships, in our health also, our emotions also, and it connects with our spiritual evolution also. So I think maybe tomorrow we'll continue with this. So today, and whenever you find time, you can just contemplate on this law. You can you can contemplate how everything around you correlates with this law of impermanence. And you can also observe when there are patterns in the mind which wants things to be fixed, to be permanent. And when it doesn't happen, the mind just suffers. It wants that thing again. It doesn't want it to change. So till tomorrow you can contemplate more on this law. So today we'll conclude this session. So just keep your attention on the wisdom eye for a minute or two, to just imbibe this knowledge, to absorb this knowledge in silence. Just keep your silent attention on this third eye. And now, if you want to continue this meditation, stretch a little longer. It will be good for you if you have time, and if you can continue this meditation. And if you want to come out of the meditation, then gently become aware of your surroundings. Move your fingers slowly and open your eyes gently. So for those who have time, I would suggest to do longer meditation, because to have the best effect of meditation, it should be done equal to the minutes of your age. So it is like the dose of meditation. If you can do it equal to the minutes of your age, you'll find more beautiful effects, more profound effects of meditation. Longer the meditation, quicker and deeper defects, and you can experience this yourself. So thank you, everyone. We'll end the session today. See you again next time. Bye bye. Good night.